Hi everyone, Aaron here, and welcome back to the channel. For today's video, I hope you'll join me as I check back in on Grant Cardone's most outspoken Scientology recruit, Tom Cruise's most enthusiastic fan. I am speaking, of course, of Pasco County's most interesting social experiment, that is TampaBrad and his effort to document his process of joining Scientology and moving up through its ranks. Brad runs a privately owned family business called Home Love Construction. He has not been shy on his channel of promoting the name of that business and associating it with Scientology, so I'm not trying to publicly shame him here. I'm not saying anything he's not saying on his own channel. And on June 23rd, just 5 days ago, Brad uploaded a video called "I Joined Scientology and they taught me how to organize a business so that it runs itself." Now this would be fascinating. This all on its own would be a fantastic reason to join Scientology if it could train you to create businesses that run themselves. So let's check in on Brad and let's see what he has to say about all this. But just before we get into that, let me quickly thank the sponsor of today's video, Dream Realty, which is me. If you're looking to buy or sell a home or a property anywhere in the Tampa Bay area and you would like to work with me, just message me at aaron@dreamrealty.com. All right, let's get into it. Pop in my AirPod and here we go.
Hey, what up? It's TampaBrad, and in this video, I want to talk to you about how the Scientology tools for organizing can help you to blow up a business and really create a life where if you are a person who wants to create something and then set it up for other people to help you run it, if you want to not just be working by yourself, this video will show you how, not fully how to do that because there's a lot of shit that goes into that, but I want to give you some of the key basic steps here that I learned from Scientology, from what L. Ron Hubbard wrote about organization and what he calls...
All right, quick pause. So a pretty common theme among Scientology-based business consultants, things like MGE, Singer Enterprises, Survival Strategies, Measurable Solutions. There's a whole lot of these business consulting groups that really peddle Scientology. A common theme in their training programs is telling these non-Scientologist business owners that what they should be trying to do with their business is move from phase 1 to phase 2. And phase 1 is when you're personally running the business, and phase 2 is when you are the business owner but you hire a CEO and managers to basically run the entire business for you. And it is considered that as a business owner, this is a standard of success that you should be progressively working towards. Brad's not going to use the terms phase 1 and phase 2 in this video, and I question whether Brad's even had enough exposure to Scientology at this point to even be familiar with the terms. But for any of you out there who have had experience in the world of WISE, Scientology Business Consulting, the World Institute of Scientology Enterprises, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. All right, let's go.
Administrative technology that can help you, because it really can. So I want to give you the context for this. I'm sitting in my nasty work shirt here in my truck. I actually had to rent a lawnmower from Home Depot to go mow the lawn to get rid of a violation on an investment property that I own, because we're closing tomorrow and there's a freaking violation that literally got slapped on there Monday for the grass being too long. So in order to handle it, I stepped in, boom, mowed the lawn. A little embarrassing. Should have had a better plan, admittedly, but you know, we're working on it. But while I was doing that, my $10 million a year business continued to roll forward.
Brad is completely unaware of the irony that he's doing a video. He's gonna be telling you in this video how Scientology has helped him organize his business in such an amazingly efficient way that it practically runs himself. Completely oblivious to the irony of the fact that he, as the CEO of the company, had to personally go on an emergency basis, rent a lawnmower, go personally mow a lawn to handle a violation that had just been issued on a property, which means the property was not being properly looked after in the first place. It also means he didn't have anyone else at the company that he could send out to go mow the lawn. And yet this is a video he's doing about how Scientology has taught him to organize his company in such an amazingly efficient manner.
Literally the only reason I did it is because I couldn't get anybody out there fast enough to do it. And I was like, all right, well, just got to do it. But the point is, I was able to do that, and nothing, like literally I didn't actually get one single call from an employee while I was...
His standard for whether his company is organized properly is whether any of his employees called him while he was out of the office. Never mind the fact that he shouldn't have had to have been out of the office renting a lawnmower, mowing a lawn. He shouldn't have had to be doing any of that himself if his business had been organized properly. But the fact that none of his employees wanted to talk to him while he was out of the office, that to him is evidence that his business is well organized.
Out there because they're just handling their work. Now, why is that? That's because we use
Because they don't want to talk to you.
Administrative technology, like I mentioned earlier. So this is something that L. Ron Hubbard created in order to run Scientology organizations. Originally, and there's actually a policy letter on this from 1954, when he started to grow the Church of Scientology and disseminate more, and he realized, like, holy shit, I need a big structure to do this. And so he hired outside business people who he thought knew how to run a business to run this business. And then they jacked it all up and he realized, oh my God, these guys don't know how to run a business. Maybe that's happened to you where you hire an expert to do something and then you're like, wait a minute, this expert doesn't know how to do this shit. He's just acting like he does. And they can't act.
Kind of like how when Brad hires Grant Cardone to teach him about sales.
Actually get a product. Well, that happened to him. And so one thing that I love about L. Ron Hubbard is if he ran into a problem, he just found out the solution to the problem. And if somebody said it couldn't be solved, he said, fuck that, any problem can be solved. And he solved it. So
he usually solved problems by declaring bankruptcy or running off with other people's wives or kidnapping his own daughter or infiltrating the US government, you know, things like that.
He did that with how to organize something. Now, if you think about a business is essentially just a bunch of people who handle things that pass through them, and there's connections between those people and certain routes that different things that you might call like particles, right? You can think of it as like a packet, like a particle that contains information, should move in a certain sequence through that business, right? And as long as everybody knows where things are supposed to go and it's written out and clear, it can just run on its own. Nobody needs to run it. They just need to push new particles into it. So
pushing new particles into the organization in this context would literally be the definition of running the organization. Let's listen to that again real quick. He doesn't even realize this doublespeak that he's doing.
It can just run on its own. Nobody needs to run it. They just need to push new particles into it. So that is the idea of a business that runs itself. Now, one thing that I don't want to give you the idea of is that this is not passive income. Any business is not passive. Like, it just makes me giggle when even some people who know about this stuff and are well trained in it will come up with this. They're like, I'm gonna do blah 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 and I'm gonna get passive income. Oh yeah. And I'm just like, bro, there's no fucking such thing as passive income. And
all right, so he's just doing this stream of consciousness thing and he's contradicting himself. So first he's saying that his business is set up and Scientology teaches people to organize businesses so that they essentially run themselves. Then he contradicts the idea of it running itself by saying you don't need to be managing it, you just need to be pushing particles into the organization. Well, pushing particles into the organization is kind of a Scientology euphemism for everything it takes to, sales and marketing to bring new people into a Scientology organization is what pushing particles into the organization would mean. So he contradicts the idea that an organization could ever run itself. And then he goes, but this is not passive income. Okay, then how would you define having ownership of an organization that runs itself? You're in phase 2, you're the owner, you're the 100% owner of a privately owned business, you've hired a CEO who works for a salary, maybe a bonus structure, you've got a staff, and you don't have to go into the office on a daily basis. You don't have to go into the office on a weekly basis. You are not the manager of the organization. That is, to me, the definition of passive income, other than the way it's commonly used, which is in the multi-level marketing world. All right, what else you got, Brad?
Also, being passive sucks and it makes you depressed. So who cares about passive income? Like, it's just a fluke. It's a lie. It doesn't exist. Sorry to break your hopes and dreams there. If you're
Who's he arguing with?
Doing that. But if you plan on doing it, go do it. Like, great. But if you want the principles on how to organize whatever it is that you're doing, you can actually start learning this. There's some very basic fundamental ideas that are contained in a book called Problems of Work by L. Ron Hubbard. You notice what I try to do in each of these videos is actually give you a book recommendation, because the easiest thing you can do, the easiest way to actually approach this subject is to just get a book, right? Like, you can be like, well, I don't want to go into a church or an org. Okay, fine, whatever. Like, just get a book and read the book and then make your decision from there, right? Like, the books contain a lot of the key fundamental items. So, like, I recommend the book. I put the link in the bio. Just so you know, like, Bridge Publications, which is like who publishes this, it's not an affiliate link. I just type it into my browser and copy and paste it. It's not, notice.
You might be wondering who the hell is he arguing with about affiliate links here. In the last video I uploaded about Brad's channel, I actually explained that in this video, these comments he's making about passive income and this comment he's making about an affiliate link, they're actually comments directed at me based on some things I said about his videos in an earlier review that I did for his channel.
It's not shortened, it doesn't say my name in it. It's just a link to the book, in case you were wondering. So that said, the book Problems of Work by L. Ron Hubbard is really gives some of the key fundamental ideas here, like what is a confusion, for example. A confusion is random motion, right? It's like everything's moving, nothing, you can't pin anything down.
L. Ron Hubbard's constantly redefining words and acting like he's done something special, and people like Brad just swallow that shit whole.
It's like when you try to go pin something down, it's like it moves and you just can't figure anything out. Well, he tells you how to solve a confusion. I'll let you read the book to find out how. No, I won't. I'll tell you.
I don't want to keep you guys in mystery. Oh, maybe he's about to tell us. Go ahead, Brad.
It's by holding one thing constant. Because if you hold one thing constant, then now not everything is in motion. And
genius.
you can refer to things in relation to that one thing. It's called a stable datum.
Oh my God.
It means stable, which is unchanging, and datum, which means a piece of information. So if you can establish a stable datum in a confusion, you eliminate the confusion. And you just...
So wrap your head around this for a moment. These are the kind of basic datums that exist in the introductory levels of Scientology that, you know, for some people, they read them and they find them particularly helpful. Something as simple as L. Ron Hubbard defines a confusion as a complete randomness and unpredictability of motion of objects. And the advice on how to solve a confusion is just to stop the motion of one particle. And then you'll be able to see other particles moving in relation to that particle. And then you can start stopping other particles. I mean, this is like really stupid stuff. But Brad would like you to know that you can find out more about this and other pearls of wisdom in L. Ron Hubbard's book, Problems of Work. What else you got, Brad?
Just start handling things one at a time. And so that, although it might seem very simple and it might seem even deceivingly simple, you'd be shocked at how many people can't do that. Like, also, the idea of a cycle of action, right? Like starting something, doing something to it, starting, changing, and then stopping. There's so many people who can't complete.
This is another core concept in Scientology. The cycle of action is defined as start, change, stop. Anything you've ever tried to do or have done or will do, you start it, you go through a process of change, and then you stop. Isn't that amazing? And another thing L. Ron Hubbard throws in there is that suppressive people, antisocial personalities, people who are against Scientology, one of the things that these type of people suffer from is a complete inability to complete a cycle of action. They start things and they leave things incomplete and it piles up. And this is one of the reasons that people who are against Scientology, according to L. Ron Hubbard, are such giant failures in life. All right, Brad, what else?
A cycle of action. How many people do you know with open projects that they're working on, right? Like it's in progress. They can't complete cycles of action. That's why they don't get anything done. Like they've got all these great ideas, but nothing ever comes of them. It's because they can't end a cycle of action. They can't close it, which then would allow them to start a new one. So there's so much like this, and this is just the foundational stuff. Then you get into the actual organizing of people, right? Like how to actually do that. And there's a little bit of that in Problems of Work. If you want to message me, there's some kind of more advanced books. Like I'm trying to think. I believe that there's one called the Scientology Handbook. It's a very big book. It's a little pricey. It's maybe like $200, but it's like a freaking leather-bound freaking manual that's probably 600 pages. And it's a beautiful book, fully illustrated. That's why it's expensive.
Beautiful.
It costs a lot to print. But
these books are printed by Sea Org members who at most are making $50 a week. It doesn't cost anything to print.
It is what I use to successfully run my business. And I've got 25 people and I went an hour and nobody called me. Nobody called me saying, Brad, help, the world's burning. Like we're selling, we're getting stuff done, like we're promoting, like all the actions that are required to have a business run, they're happening and I'm not having to do them. How is that happening?
You're not having to do any of the actions required to make your business run other than going to Home Depot, renting a lawnmower, mowing the lawn, resolving a fine, and you seem to be completely unaware of this.
Because I'm just doing this and hypnotizing you with my hand. No, just kidding. It's because I've set in motion the organization, and I've explained to people and wrote it out how they need to do certain things and made sure that they understood it, and then just let them get on with it. Just let them go do it. So there's way more about this. There's probably, I'd say in total, there's probably 3,000 to 4,000 pages of writing from L. Ron Hubbard himself on how to organize something. I've really only just started to scratch the surface, but that's all you really need, right? Like, you can get the more advanced and really high level stuff.
It's not until you get to the higher level stuff that you read the book about how to get your staff to mow the lawn.
But the basics are what make you successful in this. And so if you're interested in that, and if you want to know more about it, like on a personal basis, you can message me on Instagram. I'm TampaBrad there, or you can email me at my About page. I prefer the Instagram direct message because I'll see that faster. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, or if you didn't, I'll take either one. Hit the subscribe button below and drop a like or a dislike. If you didn't like it, that's fine as well. But let me know what you thought, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next vid. Oh, and link in the bio for the book Problems of Work is what I'll put. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Well, it does seem that Brad's biggest problem of work is finding staff members to mow the lawn. When I first started watching Brad's videos, I started with his most recent content. But yesterday I went back further and I found a video where he gave a very thorough description of how he actually joined Scientology, like more detailed than just watching Grant Cardone videos. And that video is a really, really good case study that would answer the question a lot of people ask, which is, how in the hell is anyone joining Scientology these days? How can anyone be so stupid? How can, with all of the information that's out there on the internet, especially a younger guy like Brad? Brad's had a very nice upper middle class upbringing. Brad is a graduate, at least according to his LinkedIn profile, a graduate of West Point Military Academy with a physics degree. I guess we could not be blamed for asking ourselves if we think that is really true. I am assuming that it is true. I think this is an example of someone who is book smart but not street smart. But I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit because he has a video that gives a very detailed and what I believe a genuine and sincere explanation of how he got into Scientology. I'm going to be reviewing that video as well. That's all I have for now, everyone. Thank you very much for watching until the very end, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.